Shalom friends, welcome to Daf Reaction Sotah 4. So just imagine you are a high-value man living approximately 2,000 and some years ago, and you suspect that your wife might be doing an adultery. As an alpha man, of course, you can't allow your female to be alone with another man. No way in Gehenna. But it turns out she ended up going alone into a room unchaperoned with that man, even though you warned her not to do it. Why? Because women never listen. And once you find that out, what do you want to do? Of course, you want to drag her over to get the Sotah ritual done. Miriam, you got through Yivamot. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. But how long do they really need to be alone together before we can safely assume that something actually happened? Well, in today's daf, the sages are attempting to answer the question, how long does it take a man to get it in? As you might imagine, each sage has a very different answer. Rabbi Ishmael, for example, says that it's the amount of time it takes to circle a palm tree. Rabbi Eliezer says it's the amount of time it takes to mix a cup of water and wine. Ben Azai says it's the amount of time needed to roast an egg. Rabbi Akiva says to eat an egg. Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera says no, it's the amount of time it takes to swallow 3 eggs one after the other. Rabbi Elazar ben Yirmiyah says it's actually the amount of time it takes a weaver to tie a string. Chanin ben Pinchas says it's the amount of time a woman needs to take a wood chip out of her mouth. The sage Palemo says it's the amount of time it takes to grab some bread out of a basket. Then finally, Rabbi Yochanan enters the chat, thank God. Yitzchak bar Rav Yosef says, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Guys, the reason we're getting so many different answers here is because everyone is basing their answer on their own personal lived experience, and those are going to differ. Thank you, Rabbi Yochanan. That was extremely helpful. Now you can return to your favorite activity of sitting outside a mikveh so that the women who are exiting the mikveh can see you and think of your beauty while they have sex with their husbands. True story. Anyway, the Gemara has identified something it thinks is confusing. Ben Azai's not married. How the Gehenna does he know? This is suspicious. Now, it has always seemed to me, and to a lot of people far more knowledgeable about the Talmud than I, that Ben Azai may have been ace. And the Gemara's suggestions about how it's possible that he could know, well, they don't disprove that theory. First, it suggests perhaps he had been married at some point, but then had separated from his wife. The second suggestion is maybe he heard it from his teacher. Like maybe he pulled a Rav Kahana moment and hid under his teacher's bed to find out how it was done. And the last suggestion is that certain people are so close to God that they have understanding of things that happen outside of their own experience. Maybe it's one of the secrets that Ben Azai learned when he and Rabbi Akiva and Elisha ben Avuya and Ben Zoma went on that psychedelic journey through mystical understanding that we all know as the Pardes story. Which makes me wonder, was it Metatron? Did Metatron tell him that the amount of time it takes for Shmenetration is the same amount of time it takes to boil an egg? The angel Metatron, truly an unexpected sex ed teacher.